In 1976, Jimmy Carter was elected president of the United States. 4 years later, in 1980, it was Ronald Reagan. Then 4 years later, again, 1984, it was Ronald Reagan. In 1988, it was Ronald Reagan's vice president, George H.W. Bush. And George H.W. Bush was a legitimate war hero from World War II. 58 combat missions. He was shot down over the Pacific, continuing missions with his engine on fire as he piloted his Avenger aircraft. George H.W. Bush, Poppy Bush, legitimate World War II hero. But after that election in which he was elected president in 1988, our presidential elections after that couldn't just be about our candidates' heroism in World War II, in that war that the country felt so good about, and felt so good about winning. After 1988 and Poppy Bush getting elected, thereafter, some of the candidates started to be young enough that what we were talking about at election time was not World War II, but rather where they were during Vietnam, this war about which we have much more complicated feelings as a country. So it was Bill Clinton and his student deferments in 1992. In 2000, it was George W. Bush and his plum assignment to be guaranteed stateside in the Air National Guard. The George W. Bush campaign turned that around in 2004 when the Democrats chose a legitimate Vietnam War hero, John Kerry, to put up against W. When W was running for re-election in 2004, the Republicans that year denigrated John Kerry's service in Vietnam. They said he faked all those medals that he earned. By 2008, the Republicans were running their own legitimate Vietnam War hero for the presidency, John McCain's extraordinary service and bravery and almost unimaginable personal sacrifice in Vietnam. I mean, by rights, based on his biography alone, that should have made the 2008 election all about the Vietnam War as well. But by 2008, something else was going on when it comes to war. By 2008, the country was obsessed with a different war. Another war, an ongoing war, that was basically the spindle around which the campaign of 2008 spun like a broken record. In the primaries, in the general, all the way through, it was about the war in Iraq.